A mystery faction attacks Jay White at the conclusion of AEW Dynamite last night, but who is the mystery person behind MJF's devil mask? Is it MJF? Is it Adam Cole? Is it someone else? We'll give you the very latest details on that. Plus, Adam Cole, speaking of Adam Cole, he revealed that at the Grand Slam edition of Dynamite, he suffered a broken ankle. He requires surgery, and he will not be competing this weekend at Wrestle Dream. John Cena teases a big change to his tag team match at Fastlane. Rey Fénix successfully defends the International Championship for the first time. He's also got his next challenger set for next week's episode of Dynamite. But speaking of Rey Fénix, the person he defeated for the title, Jon Moxley, we've got more details on his concussion, heat on the referee for the match, as well as scrapped plans for him to face a New Japan star at Wrestle Dream this coming weekend. We've got the ratings for this week's edition of NXT on USA Network. Paul White makes a cameo on this week's edition of AEW Dynamite. Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta is set for Wrestle Dream this weekend, and a strategic alliance between CMLL, MLW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling is officially announced. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about who is the mystery person behind the mask. Last night's Dynamite had a big cliffhanger, but we've kind of got to set the stage first before we get into who this mystery person could be. So, after MJF and Adam Cole came to the ring to reveal the future of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, MJF was alone. Now, we'll get to what Adam Cole said in just a second, but in the first half of the segment, as I mentioned, he was on hand as Adam Cole shared with the crowd the news about his injury, which we'll get to in just a second. But because of this injury, Adam Cole tried to relinquish the titles, but instead, MJF insisted that he would instead defend the tag team titles solo against both members of the Righteous, Dutch and Vincent, at Wrestle Dream this weekend. When Cole left the ring to attend some emergency presented by Roderick Strong, MJF wasn't alone for long. He was promptly joined by Switchblade Jay White, and the pair had a verbal exchange that lasted a full segment. As the duo went back and forth on the mic, with MJF accusing Jay White of being tofu, easily able to take on the flavor of other things, but pretty bland all alone, White had his own retort, noting that MJF didn't really have the support of the crowd, rather that they loved Adam Cole. He anticipated his confidence continuing to wane because White wouldn't be letting up anytime soon. In the end, there was no official match made between the two, rather Switchblade putting MJF on notice that he was coming for him and the Triple B. But this is where things get really, really interesting, because there was a big cliffhanger to close the episode of Dynamite last night. So, after a contract signing segment between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page ended Dynamite, there was a quick cut to a backstage attack already in progress. While the moment started murky as to not only who was delivering the beatdown, but also who was getting attacked, soon was clear that the victim of the assault was none other than the aforementioned Switchblade Jay White. As the show was going off the air, Jay White was seen being attacked by 4 mystery masked men all in black. When the camera person got closer, then a 5th person dressed in all black appeared, wearing the signature devil mask of MJF. However, the consensus is that the man wearing the mask was in fact not MJF based on his physical appearance. None of the 4 attackers nor the man who was wearing the MJF devil mask were revealed. Of course, MJF has appeared multiple times in the devil mask, first upon making his mysterious return to AEW at All Out in 2022 in the Casino Battle Royale. In fact, he most recently wore it during the main event entrance for the All In match against Adam Cole at Wembley Stadium just last month. Now, as I mentioned, the general consensus is, and you can see the picture on the screen right now, that physical build doesn't look too much like MJF, but we know that it's not MJF. We know that it's not Jay White. He was the one being attacked. Adam Cole seems unlikely because he's injured, although some people are pointing out that this mysterious figure didn't really get physically involved, and in addition to that, it does have a physical appearance resembling that of Adam Cole. Some are suggesting that the actual reveal of the person probably wasn't even involved in the segment. It might just be a placeholder. Have we heard of the Black Scorpion before in WCW? So who do you think this mystery person is? Who do you think will be eventually revealed to be the person behind the mask? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below, really to know who your predictions are for this mystery person. Now, he's speaking about Adam Cole during this episode, and Adam Cole was heavily featured last night, but the big news coming out of the show was Adam Cole's injury. Adam Cole had just gotten back on his feet, really, after nearly a year of recovering from a serious head injury suffered at Forbidden Door in 2022. Now it appears that Cole will be back on the injured list after suffering an ankle injury at AEW Grand Slam earlier this month. On this week's AEW Dynamite, Cole confirmed that he broke his ankle in multiple places and will have to undergo surgery to repair it. Cole nearly relinquished the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, but his championship partner MJF refused the idea, as I mentioned, instead opting to take on the Righteous by himself at AEW Wrestle Dream this Sunday in Seattle, Washington. Cole suffered the injury very, very innocuously, running down the ramp to help cheer on MJF during his AEW World title defense against Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe last week at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Now, there is no word on how long Cole will be out of action, but the injury adds an ironic twist to Cole's current issues with former friend Roderick Strong, who is also currently dealing with a storyline neck injury. Dressed in a hospital gown, Strong interrupted Cole's segment with Strong in a wheelchair and Cole on crutches. Now, it remains to be seen. Some people are having kind of conspiracy theories about this, suggesting that maybe the ankle injury isn't legitimate, despite there being x-rays and things like that put on social media by Britt Baker. Some are suggesting is AEW trying to make the most of a sprain or something less serious than an ankle break. And again, was Adam Cole the person that was actually wearing the mask last night? So let me know your thoughts about all of this. What are your thoughts, as I mentioned, about the person behind the mask? What are your thoughts on Adam Cole's injury? What are your thoughts on the change to Wrestle Dream that was made last night? Let me know your thoughts, as always. Really interested to know where you think this one's going in the comment section below. Switching back to WWE, John Cena, we know he's going to be in action at Fastlane next weekend. Now, John Cena has teased a match change for the Fastlane event on October 7, 2023 in Indianapolis, Indiana. On the latest episode of SmackDown, AJ Styles was attacked backstage by Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, and it was made clear the expected tag match for Fastlane with Cena and Styles teaming up against Uso and Sikoa wasn't going to be happening. Later in the show, Uso and Sikoa were beating down John Cena in the ring, which was originally planned to bring out LA Knight to make the save, likely leading to Cena and Knight versus Uso and Sikoa being the actual Fastlane match. However, LA Knight was pulled from the show at the last minute after testing positive for COVID-19. So instead, the show ended with the beatdown and nothing else, with Uso and Sikoa standing tall over the former 16-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The handicap match was announced on the September 25th episode of Raw. However, there may indeed be plans to have Cena even up the odds if a recent tweet is anything to go by. Cena recently responded to a fan dressing up as him to celebrate Dressed Like a Celebrity Day on Twitter, saying, quote, "I do need a tag team partner for WWE Fastlane." That kind of implies that Cena is in fact looking to even things up and make it a tag team match. There's currently no word on when Knight will be able to return and whether or not he'd be available for Fastlane next weekend. Of course, if we get any more information about that in a future video, we'll let you know. Now, switching back to Dynamite last night, Rey Fénix successfully defended his International Championship, but the whole International Championship victory for him last night is still very, very murky, and we're getting more details about that. We'll let you know about that in just a second. But this week's AEW Dynamite was opened by a clash between two former AAA Mega Champions, as Rey Fénix defended his AEW International title against Jeff Jarrett. Despite the best efforts of Jarrett's goons, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Sonjay Dutt, and Karen Jarrett, Fénix was able to best the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, rolling him up in a small package cradle pin to successfully defend the title for the first time. Fénix had some help from referee Aubrey Edwards, who shoved Karen Jarrett to the floor during a heated moment between the two women in the latter part of the match. Fénix has been the AEW International Champion since last week when he defeated Jon Moxley after Moxley suffered an injury during the match. Moxley was reportedly meant to retain, but suffered a concussion early in the match, causing an audible to be called and Fénix winning the title. Now, actually, we do know when Fénix's next title defense is going to be as well, because Nick Jackson has earned a title match on the 4th anniversary of AEW Dynamite. Nick Jackson has booked his place in the 4th anniversary edition of AEW Dynamite. On the 2nd of October 2019, the first ever edition of AEW Dynamite took place with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega losing out in the main event to Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz, and Jericho formed his inner circle at the expense of the Elite. Now, 4 years later, Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks will be looking to come out on the winning side of things on the 4th of October 2023 edition of AEW's flagship show as he makes a rare play for singles gold. On Dynamite in Denver, Nick Jackson was involved in a three-way match to find out the next contender for Rey Fénix's International Championship against Claudio Castagnoli and Brian Cage. Jackson picked up the victory, meaning he'll challenge Fénix in his home state of California. Jackson's bout, as mentioned, came after Fénix actually retained his title in the opening match on the show. But regarding Jon Moxley as well, things are very interesting regarding his situation, the changes that were made on the fly last week, and some heat backstage as well. So, obviously, needless to say, the ending of the AEW Dynamite International title match at the Grand Slam edition of Dynamite last week didn't go the way that was originally planned. Now, Fightful had reported that almost immediately following the Jon Moxley vs. Rey Fénix match, that Moxley had been hurt earlier on in the encounter, and most believed it wasn't actually the highly criticised pile driver that did the damage. Either way, Moxley walked out on his own power and was checked on by the Blackpool Combat Club and Tony Khan after the situation. Moxley implied to people that he was okay. However, that wasn't where the headaches were actually, ended, certainly for AEW when it comes to changes and booking. An audible was called during the match, and Rey Fénix won the AEW International Championship. According to Fightful Select, not only did that affect the match, but it caused immediate changes to the AEW Dynamite following that, and also Wrestle Dream 2. Fightful are reporting that they had learned that originally a non-AEW wrestler was supposed to come out on Dynamite and challenge Jon Moxley for Wrestle Dream. However, when that match result changed, so did the plan to come out and make the challenge. Now, Fightful at the time suggested that they didn't know who the person was that was originally supposed to come out and actually challenge Jon Moxley for that AEW International Championship. However, it is being reported now by Bodyslam.net that indeed the person that was going to come out and challenge Jon Moxley was none other than New Japan star Filthy Tom Lawler. Now, again, the match could come back on potentially if Jon Moxley is cleared between now and this coming weekend. He wasn't cleared to compete last night on AEW Dynamite. The two men are familiar foes, previously facing off at Defy Wild Ones in singles competition last April, with Moxley defeating Filthy. Lawler has previously been scheduled for an AEW match before, originally set to face Adam Cole at Forbidden Door earlier this summer, but this match was cancelled due to Cole not being cleared for the matchup due to illness. So this would be really the second instance of something that had been cancelled or something that had been changed due to injury or illness. Again, the match could still happen. Lawler still could possibly appear at the event, but as of right now, that's not going to happen. Now, we have the ratings for this week's edition of NXT on USA Network as well. Now, this one's quite interesting, of course, because it's NXT No Mercy this coming weekend. Now, per Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, NXT drew 636,000 viewers. This is down from the September 19 edition that drew 824,000 viewers. In the 18 to 49 demographic, Tuesday's show scored a 0.18 rating. This is also down from the week prior that scored a 0.24 rating. The show featured Butch defeating Joe Coffey to win the NXT Global Heritage Invitational Tournament and move on to face Noam Dar for the NXT Heritage Cup this Saturday at No Mercy. Also, Trick Williams defeated Joe Gacy and then went on to defeat Axiom, Tyler Bates, and Dragon Lee to become the number one contender for Dominic Mysterio's NXT North American Championship at No Mercy as well. What are your thoughts on those ratings and a bit of a come down going into No Mercy this weekend? Paul White made a bit of a cameo last night on AEW Dynamite as well during a segment on the show, which again, Paul White has had his appearances be quite infrequent, of course, in recent AEW history. There has been reports that he's going to be playing or portraying the Captain Insano gimmick at points as well. And he also, of course, did last actually appear during the AEW All-In 0 Hour pre-show. With MJF and Adam Cole, just a couple of boat bros hanging out in New York, they caught more than they had bargained for. While sitting out on a boat fishing, the pair caught a very big bite, with the camera panning to reveal that the duo caught none other than Captain Insano. With Paul White seen floating on a giant floating rubber duck, he gets caught by Adam Cole and MJF, eventually joining them on the boat for beer. Elsewhere in the segment, MJF teased turning on Cole in a dastardly fashion, putting on the Dynamite Diamond ring behind Cole's back, seemingly priming to attack him in response to Adam having more than one friend. With Adam Cole reassuring MJF having more than one friend was totally appropriate, MJF agreed to support Cole, but also added that the last time he tried to dump an MFer overboard, he almost got caught anyway. So Adam Cole's outrage and the confusion at Max's last statement was broken when the pair caught Captain Insano. So What did you think of that segment, and what do you think of Paul White seemingly really intent on pushing that Captain Insano at some point is going to come to AEW television? Now, Wrestle Dream is this weekend, and the match that was rumoured has now been officially confirmed. Days before the launch of AEW's newest pay-per-view event, Wrestle Dream, another match has been added to the card. During a backstage segment that took place after Saturday's AEW Collision, but aired on Wednesday during AEW Dynamite, Blackpool Combat Club member Wheeler Yuta challenged Absolute Ricky Starks to a match on a Sunday show in Seattle, and it was made official via a graphic later in the broadcast. Fightful Select had reported that the match was in the works earlier on in the day on Wednesday. It is the first encounter between the two wrestlers, beyond both being participants in a lone battle royal in 2022. Of course, Starks versus Yuta is the 10th match announced for Wrestle Dream, the pay-per-view honouring the legendary Antonio Inoki, that is set to involve New Japan talent such as Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi. The match came about as a result of Starks' ongoing feud with Yuta's Blackpool Combat Club stablemate Bryan Danielson, which itself was reportedly the result of Danielson taking CM Punk's place as Stark's AEW All-Out opponent after Punk was unceremoniously fired following an altercation with Jack Perry at All In the prior weekend. Finally, this is quite an interesting one actually, because there is a strategic alliance announced between three promotions from three separate countries. Major League Wrestling, CMLL, and New Japan Pro Wrestling yesterday announced the formation of a landmark strategic alliance. This press release comes from MLW and actually all of the promotions that are involved in this, saying the three world-class organizations will unite for a variety of crossover collaborations commencing this October. The strategic alliance creates the ultimate stage for each organization to showcase their signature fighting styles and athletes. Quote, "It's a privilege and honor to forge an alliance with CMLL and work with Mr. Salvador Luteroff-Lamelli and his team while expanding MLW's relationship with New Japan to create an extraordinary collaboration," said MLW CEO and founder Court Bauer. "I wish to thank Mr. Salvador Luteroff-Lamelli, Mr. Nakoki Sugabashi, Mr. Takami Abari, and Rocky Romero for building the foundation for this opportunity. We look forward to showcasing the extraordinary athletes from Mexico, Japan, and America for fans worldwide." Now, Fightful Select has a bit more details on this collaboration between the three promotions. MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and CMLL have announced a strategic alliance, and Fightful Select are now reporting more details surrounding it. CMLL Informer broke the news yesterday, but Fightful Select has confirmed that discussions started in early July between the three groups. The partnership will launch, as the press release stated, in October. MLW adjusted its roster to align with CMLL, which means that they will not use any AAA talent. This is the reason why talent like Sam Adonis finished up with MLW in recent months. Those that Fightful have spoken to say there will be a steady flow of talent between the three groups. MLW is looking to get a big refresh of Lucha talent in 2024, including a lot of CMLL talent heading over. New Japan Pro Wrestling crossover will get bigger as they get into the new year too. Selena De La Renta, who recently returned to MLW, will be a central figure in storylines that involve MLW and CMLL. But there you go, guys. It's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.